Well, good evening, my friends. It's a pleasure to be here with you for this week's devotional, and I hope you've had a great week so far. I want to start off this devotional by congratulating my nephew, Matthew Valdez, and his lovely bride, Alma, who were married this past Saturday. And I also want to thank him for inviting me to be a part of his special event. And I was thinking about him today because I'm sitting on the couch that I actually got from Matthew. A few months back, I went to go visit my brother, and Matthew was getting rid of this sofa, and I loved the way it felt and looked, and I brought it home with me. The problem is I made the mistake of not asking my wife what she thought. And so for the last several months, my wife has been giving me that look every time I sit down on the sofa and she walks by. And she's right. She tells me, it doesn't match the furniture here in the living room, and it's time to get rid of that. And I was thinking about that today because I think that it's very comparable to the Christian walk as well. I think that there are times where we get comfortable with things, or we prefer to have things in our life that really just don't belong anymore. I want you to listen to the words of Jesus in the book of Matthew chapter 9, where in verse 16 and 17 he says the following: "But no one puts a patch of unshrunk cloth on an old garment, for the patch pulls away from the garment, and a worse tear results." And he also says, "Nor do people put new wine into old wineskins, otherwise the wineskins burst, and the wine pours out, and the wineskins are ruined. But they put new wine into fresh wineskins, and both are preserved." You see, what Jesus is talking about here are fresh perspectives, new attitudes when we come to Christ. You see, if we're a new creation, if we're made new in Christ, that means that the way we think, the way we act, our habits, they all need to change. We need to be renewed by the transforming of our minds, as Paul says in Romans chapter 12, verse 2. In other words, we need to really think about the old things that we've gotten comfortable with that really just don't belong anymore. So this evening, the message I want to bring to you is simple. I want you to really examine your life and say, are there old things that just don't fit with my life anymore? Do they need to go? See, Jesus talks about how new wine and new opportunities, new blessings can be poured out into us. But if we don't have that new wineskin that's ready to embrace it and receive it, it won't work for our lives. So it's time to get rid of the old attitudes, the old ways of thinking, the things that shouldn't be there, the negative influences, the things that just don't belong in our new walk with Christ. And so I want to encourage you on this day to examine and look at your life and say, what aspects of my life need to be removed? Even though maybe we're comfortable with those things or we've gotten accustomed to those things, maybe it's time to toss those things away. Because as we are made new in Christ, we are also ready to receive the new blessings that God has in store for us. But we have to first remove those things. So I want to encourage you on this day to take the words of Christ and apply them to your life and get rid of those things. Which, by the way, if you're interested in a used sofa, I may be the man you need to call. God bless you, and until next time.